Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming today, and good to see everyone. So first of all, I wanted to apologize for last time. Last time I had a mistake with the channel times because usually when I do the streams, it goes over to midnight. So technically now it's the 19th, but it just became the 19th, so I always imagine it as the 18th of April, but it's like that. So I'm sorry for the other trouble last time. So I apologize for that, but thank you for tuning in even so, like to check on me, and I really appreciate to that people message and ask if I was okay. So thank you so much, and I'm so sorry to make you worry. But hello everyone. Yes, hello Vidim-san. Hello Alex. Alex-san. Hello Iniza-san. Thank you so much for coming. So it's been pretty busy today. I am wearing a white sweater because just I've had to do so much laundry and like so going out so much. Today I did have a nice day, like a little bit of a break between the work. But as you can see behind me, we're having a private mitama ceremony tomorrow, and it's gonna be like a bigger ceremony. So lots of preparations and lots of like work in between, but it's good. But that being said, today will just be a little bit of a shorter stream. Because in at 6 o'clock in the morning, I have to do another meeting, like an online meeting with like Konko Churches of North America. So it's it's really like hectic a little bit, but I'm thankful for the busyness. But yeah, so today will be a little bit shorter, maybe just an hour stream. But it's something important I wanted to talk about. So, and I had been thinking about it recently for a number of reasons. But basically, like, so for example, this week, so they're just starting from this week, um, I had been like exposed to a lot of various types of posts or media or something like that that talked about like how like a deity called to someone, or like someone's experiences with a deity, or like a like kami-sama, or like another god or something, and how like they had like this powerful experience and they were called. So one video I saw where like this girl, she was saying how like when she first felt like Hades, like the Greek god Hades, she said like something like to the effect of, I felt a lot of like energy in his presence and he was calling to me, and like I felt like he wanted me to like work with him in his teachings and stuff. And it was like very interesting, stuff like that. And then I saw similar videos like, like Aphrodite called to me, or like Apollo called to me, or like and like even sometimes I see like in our server, like, certain kami-sama call to certain people. And like for me, like I think it's good. Like I like it. Like I like that, like like I like that other people feel close to the gods in a way. Um but but is the big but. So the big thing here that I kind of wanted to address on the stream today is that sometimes, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with the stories. That's what I'm trying to say. But I think that sometimes, um so like for me personally, it can make you feel like you're not enough, or like you're not doing enough, or like what is it about me that maybe the gods don't want to reach out to me? Does that make sense? So like it can kind of have the opposite effect, where it makes you feel like you're not as close to the divine because other people are having these experiences, if they're real. Like let's just, on the pretense that these experiences are real, what makes it so that these like other people have these experiences and I don't, so it kind of makes you start to question. And this kind of, for me, it kind of goes back. So like ever since like elementary school, middle school, I was always the person who was like picked last. Like I had no friends. I was getting bullied, and like in gym class or like if you need a partner for a project, like nobody wanted to pick me. I was always picked last. I was just like shunned and ignored, and I honestly had no idea why. Um, for whatever reason, but that's what happened to me. And it kind of brought back those feelings, like, like being picked last or like not being wanted, like being the weakest link, It kind of like seeing these kind of videos made me think back to that like feeling, that it kind of brought back into me. Like some people are more worthy or more chosen than others. And I don't like that feeling so much. So like that's kind of like I started to think like it felt kind of problematic and kind of like interesting to think about. Like so I was thinking about that. So wait, let me read a comment Vidya says. So Vidya says, since when divine calls kind of random people, or is it like specific to Greek gods? Honestly, I've seen it everything. I've seen like Norse gods, like Loki's very popular with people, like Othin, Odin, Greek gods, Roman gods, even in Kami-sama. Like I've seen this a lot. I've seen it a lot online. And again, like I don't think there's anything wrong with people wanting to connect to the divine. Like I want people to connect to the divine, but when they say like they were chosen or like the gods came to them and they wanted to work with them, or they say work with them, but like, they wanted to communicate with them specifically. Like I start to think about it because it sounds nice, like on paper, I guess. Like, it sounds nice, but also it makes me think of that time when I was younger and like nobody wanted to pick me, no one wanted to reach out to me, no one like saw any value in me, and that really like affected my self-esteem. So like of course like humans are like flawed and limited, so like that can happen, it's okay. But when it's a divine being, it kind of adds an extra like weight and an extra sadness to it, like a very like a loneliness. So that's what I was thinking about. But wait, it goes on. But let me read your comment, Alex. So Alex says sometimes it feels very much like people wanting a connection, so they can maybe misinterpret their own feelings as a god of kamisamas. Yes, exactly. Like people want a connection so much that they start to feel like they're specifically like chosen over another person. But I think like it's okay to have a connection. But again, like I don't think it's like you're more like important or worthy than someone else, and that's really important for me to think about. And like so like I'll give another example too. So this is pretty personal, so I'll get into it. But so I was seeing um sorry, I have a little bit of like I drank a lot of water earlier, and I'm nervous, so I'm trying to explain. So like so like earlier, I heard this like story, or like word of mouth story of like someone who had an experience with like Tenchika no Kami-sama, and they were really moved by it, and it was very touching for them, and I thought it was really good and like really moving and stuff. But um truth be told, like I started to worry, like this is my own issue because of my past and my own like what's going on here, in my head. But I started to worry that maybe like Kami-sama doesn't need me anymore because they can just connect to other people who are better, and they can do the things that I can't do, and so Kami-sama doesn't need me, you know? I know that's not true. I know that's not true. But there's a part of me that worries about it, that maybe I'm not doing enough, maybe I'm not good enough, maybe Kami-sama doesn't need me anymore, or so I started to worry about that stuff in my head because I'm like I have lots of trauma and like insecurity and like all that stuff. And of course I try to work through it, but it comes up, it like creeps up in my head. And I know that's not true. I know it's not true logically, but sometimes I see stuff about like these stories of like the gods connecting to people or like kami-sama like communicating with someone, and I think like then why am I needed? Like why what's the point of me existing if like everything can be solved or helped by others who are more talented, more skilled. Other people can speak more languages than me, other people can be more physically active than me, other people can be more popular than me, like more popular and more well known. And it's like, all these thoughts come to me and like they get to me. But it's kind of like an ego thing too, because like I'm scared of like, it's like the usual thing, right? Like you're scared of like you don't have a place in society. So like your ego starts to like fear that. But so anyway, like all these thoughts were like spiraling in my head. And I know logically like Kami-sama needs all of us. But then I kind of thought like like, but how can we talk about this in a way that like we explain it in a more grounded approach? Cuz like even for me like for example like my story of how I came into Konko and like how I connected to Kami-sama, right? Like it kind of feels a little bit like crazy, right? Like I found the Toronto Kyokai through the bus instead of taking the train home, and then I just found and I started participating, and then becoming a minister and like going through all that. And it's like and then it's like, but why like but then it's like here's the thing, right? Like so sometimes I ask myself too like so here's the thing. So a lot of ministers say, like a lot of elder sensei say, like you can't become a minister until kami-sama feels you're ready, or like kami-sama will choose you. And I agree with that. Like I feel like that's true, but I know sometimes it can be like misinterpreted, like if I'm not ready yet, or like if kami-sama doesn't choose me, then that means there's something wrong with me. That means like there's something wrong with me. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough to be chosen. And it kind of all goes back to that. But but you know what, like I don't think it's about that. So like the other thing that got me thinking about this is like I know a lot of people, like a lot of my friends who I feel they would be like a more amazing, um very amazing ministers. And even some people here in the chat, like I feel like you guys would be amazing ministers. Um but the way things have been happening, it's been difficult to have that opportunity or like ability, right? And so like just because of that, when no, sorry, Alex. Yeah, Alex says this that has it hits a little too close to personal thoughts I've had before. No, no, I know it's a lot, but that's the thing too. Like I feel like you would be a great priest, and like it's just like there's a lot of circumstances, like earthly circumstances, like human society circumstances that make it very difficult. But when you hear people say like, "Oh, well, it's because like kami-sama feels like, you're not ready," or like it's just not time yet, it can easily lead to feeling like, well, then something's wrong with me. Like, what am I doing wrong? Am I not good enough? I'm doing my best, but is my best not good enough? And that can really hurt and feel like it feels very daunting and like scary. So I guess like all of what I want to talk about is kind of like how I was thinking about all these things, where it's like between like people saying the gods connected to them, people saying the gods like talked to them and chose them, and between like saying like, you're not ready yet, or things will work out when you're ready, or like kami-sama will choose you when you're ready. And like these things are like, they're not bad. Like it's good to connect to the divine. And it's true that like sometimes we have to wait for the right moment, and it's not necessarily always because we're ready, as in like who we are as people, but like circumstances around us have to change. But like I feel like we have to be careful about like how we kind of like talk about it. I feel like, because even for me, like I start to spiral thinking that like I'm not needed, or like Kami-sama doesn't need me because there's other people out there, and like I can't really understand, there's so these like all these thoughts kind of come up. And that's what I was thinking about before this live stream today, and I kind of wanted to work through those feelings and like discuss them with you guys. And I have like a conclusion, and I'm working to it, but wait, let me read the comments. So oh, sorry. I think Madison, yes, Madison says, I joined not long ago, and this is also touching on something I've been thinking about. I have to deal with being a very spiritual person who wants to do religious work, but I can't. Oh no. Yes. Yeah, it's very hard, Like there's so many limitations, like physical limitations, financial, linguistic. There's a lot of limitations in the physical side that like makes you feel worse sometimes when you hear like, it's because you're not like ready yet or something, without like further elaboration. So it makes it more difficult. Williamson says, I think that to solve the problem of kami-sama not choosing person to be a minister, person need to realize that not everyone is meant to be a minister. Yes. So that too, that's also true. So like, there's a few things here. So like, first of all, like being a minister, like I'll just say the ground rule. Like being a minister does not mean you're necessarily like the closest person to kami-sama, like in the world, like yes, you have to have a connection with kami-sama to be a minister, because of course you're going to be serving kami-sama and people at the shrine and be the bridge between them. But it doesn't mean like a lay person can't have a stronger or as strong connection with kami-sama. The minister title, the priest title, is just something, it's like a responsibility, so we have a responsibility to serve kami-sama, to serve the hiromai, to serve people, and be the bridge between them and take up that mantle of responsibility. But it does not denote like a special status or like like the closest person, like a lay person can be closer, if not as close as a minister. So it's like, it's like you don't need that title of a minister to be someone close to kami-sama or wise, like have the wisdom of kami-sama. I actually know a lot of people in Konko who are not ministers, but I look up to them like as teachers, as guides. There's one individual who I've known for a few years, for many years now, actually, like 10 years. And I always wondered, like, why doesn't he become a minister? But he told me and my friend, like, he knows like kami-sama needs him to be in that position that he's in, even though it's not a minister position, but he knows like kami-sama needs him to be in this position in life and serving the Konko community, and he can do more fulfilling things in that position rather than the position of minister, which admittedly realistically has a lot of like, you can't, it's very like you have to follow, the hiromai schedule, you have to follow, you know, responsible for many people. But in his line of work, he's not restricted by the hiromai's kind of schedule or like lifestyle. He can be a little bit more free to travel, free to study, free to connect more. So, it's like, it doesn't really, like, the title of minister doesn't mean you're a more valuable person to kami-sama. It just means you're the person responsible for the hiromai, but it does not mean you're a more valuable person to kami-sama. So definitely, for sure, like, not everyone, like, being a minister doesn't mean like you're more valuable. you know so sorry, Vidim-san says, I remember that in Kandori Konko Honbu, there's a woman and she's almost 100 years old, practicing faith all this time. And she's not a minister, but even Kandori Konko ministers ask her how to be like her. Yes. Exactly. That's so much like the person I was talking about, like there's so many wise like elders and people who have such a close connection, and like it's important to look to them to understand kami-sama more, because like here I am, like I'm a minister, I guess, but like I know that I have the responsibility and I want to uphold it. But even with this like position that I'm in, even I still have moments of uncertainty, anxiety, fears, wondering if kami-sama doesn't need me, all these sorts of like feelings, like negative feelings, fears, concerns. And if I was like the people I look up to who are not ministers, but they're very wise and they're very close to kami-sama, I know that I would be able to like not have any of these worries at all naturally, because I would feel close to kami-sama so much that I would know deeper without letting my anxieties and fears kind of cloud that connection. And of course I try to work on it, but you know what I mean? Like sometimes it creeps up on you, especially like late at night, you're thinking about stuff and then one thing goes into another. So um but that's how it is, right? Like you're not magically someone of stronger faith or like connection just because you have the title. All the title is a responsibility on the human side even. So it's just that it doesn't mean like you're like a special, um like you're above other people, if that makes sense. Like of course I respect senseis for doing the work that they do and the duty that they fulfill. Of course we have to respect that, but it doesn't mean that they're like more important than someone else, especially not like, like it's not good to say that, especially in Konko, because in Konko Faith, like Tenchika no Kami-sama sees everyone equal. Like what I mean by that is like no person is more valuable to Kami-sama than another. Like every person, every being, every existence is cherished and very important to Tenchika no Kami-sama. So that's why like, saying that the minister is more valuable doesn't make sense. So it's like that feeling. Um so that says for me, I'm trying to be in prayer more in my heart and in my heart. And what comes to in prayer is indeed religious work. Just trying to figure out how to do it and what religious work it is. Is it videos or blogs? Most important, at least for me, is what are kami-sama moving me towards, and not me. Not oh sorry, not me first, and just listening to kami-sama first. Ah yes, exactly. Like that's so important too. Like I think so too. Um, like your religious spiritual work, it it's prayer, and it doesn't have to be just rituals. But there's so many other things you can do for kami-sama, that are meaningful and important and show that, like help people connect to kami-sama and help people grow and like learn more wisdom. And it doesn't just like it's not always about like the rituals. It's not always about um like prayers or rituals, or like so like what we imagine when you say religious work. It can be anything, right? Like anything can be able to connect someone to kami-sama, like telling a good story, making a good artwork, even just having a talk with someone or inspiring someone. There's so many ways that we can show our own kami nature to others, but also kami-sama through our actions and our words. So that's very important. And you don't need to be a minister to be able to do that. And in fact, it should be like that. I think we should all try to work towards helping each other connect to kami-sama. So like that's what I'm kind of getting at here is like, like when I was thinking about all this stuff, excuse me, sorry. When I was thinking about all these things and all this stuff, I was thinking that like, so like for example, I have a friend who wanted to be a minister for like 12 years longer. And she wanted to go to Japan, she wanted to train for gakuin, everything. And I genuinely think like spiritually she would be ready. But unfortunately, like there's been so many things like on the physical side, like health problems, um, financial issues, family issues. There's so many issues, right, to overcome. And sometimes my friend would ask me, like, is Kami-sama mad at me? Like, does Kami-sama not want me to be a minister? And I was like, no, no, that's not true. Like I understand, like not everyone has to be a minister, but also like sometimes, like we don't know, like we can only see so far into the path ahead of us, and we don't know how the trajectory of things will turn, um based on like cause and effect. So there's kind of like, it's not like fate, but it's like every action has a consequence. Every result, every action has a result, right? And for some people, if they became ministers in a certain point in their life with a whole bunch of other obstacles or situations, or maybe not the right time, or maybe if they did, it would lead to a series of events. We don't really know as humans. So there's also that factor where we kind of have to like understand that just because things aren't like flowing easy in that moment, it doesn't mean it's impossible. It doesn't mean that you're not wanted or you're not worthy. It might be that you're being led to something else that is for the better. And and what I mean by being led is like when you pray to Kami-sama to for your wish, for your goal, and it kind of goes in a different way. I don't think that's necessarily like, I don't think that's like tormenting or like Kami-sama being mean to you. It's just like, it's like sometimes, you got to take a different way to get to somewhere that you need to be. Cuz like if you took, like let's say you took this, like there's two paths. There's like this path that goes around the mountain, and then this path that goes like directly through. But the thing is like you don't know that this path gets really dangerous later on, and you don't know that this path like might be a risk for your life, or like something could happen. But it looks easier. It looks like this is the one you're supposed to take. But when you pray about it, Kami-sama takes you this way, and it seems like you're going away from it. It seems like you're going the different way. Like you're not. It's not what you prayed for. But actually, it is. It's just going a long way around, and you got to go all this way because you need, first of all, it's like you maybe need to take that path. Maybe you need to walk around that, or maybe this way is safer, or maybe like by the time you get up to that part, you're gonna have a lot of experience or meet the right people or something. Like we don't know as humans. So it's important to understand like the divine's perspective as well. Because even 10 years to Kami-sama is like nothing. So, like 10 years, 20 years, like that's like nothing to Kami-sama, even though it's a long time for us humans. But, it's like kind of that thing when you look back and you realize, like, no, it worked out the way it was supposed to work out. So there's kind of like that factor too. There's like the factor that maybe not everyone needs to be a minister or like should be, because it's like there's pros and cons of it. But then also like maybe you will be one, but it's like there's a lot of things that you have to like overcome first. And it doesn't mean that you're not worthy, but it means like there's just a lot of things to go through. And then another thing is like like sometimes we don't know like what can happen to us because we have such a limited perspective. And sometimes we have to kind of work with Kami-sama to get through these things. Like kind of like what I said about the path, like you have to kind of like keep trusting to go to where you need to be, even if it doesn't seem like it. So, it's like trusting that thread, trusting the way that it will weave for you. So it's kind of like, I don't want to say like just like very simple, like just trust in the universe and everything will work out. It's good vibes. Like I'm not trying to say that. I'm trying to say, like, if you pray for something, like if you're actually communicating to Kami-sama for something and you really want something, um, Kami-sama will either like Kami-sama will absolutely respond to you. And what that answer is, we don't know. It could be that Kami-sama feels like you'd be better doing another role than minister role, or maybe Kami-sama feels, there's a lot of things you have to work through, or it's not the right time, not because you're not ready necessarily, or not because you're not worthy in the moment, but because the timing itself of all the other circumstances around you are not where they need to be. And then there's another factor where it's like, maybe, you want to be a minister, but you have to walk a long path to get to a point where in your ministerial path, your the way that you will serve as a minister, you needed to walk this path in order to help someone in particular, or serve certain people in the hiromai. So it's kind of like that. There's a lot of causes and effects, and that doesn't mean like a no, or that doesn't mean you're not worthy, and that doesn't mean you're not ready, like as a person. It just means there's like a process to everything, especially when you pray about it. Now, if you don't pray about it, Kami-sama can still like guide us to a certain like way, but also like it can be a little bit more chaotic too, or like unpredictable, because there's not like, because Kami-sama can't force their guidance not all the time on someone. Like if you want help, you have to, it's a two-way street. It's ayo kakeo. So even if Kami-sama tries to guide you, if you just say no, that's what it is, right? But if you're praying and you're like, you and Kami-sama are working together, then definitely like there's going to be some results, and just might be a whole process. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense, but it's complicated. It's not just a matter of like, okay, trust and I don't have to do anything. It's just, as you're going through the trials of life and praying for your goals, you have to have the patience and resilience and trust in Kami-sama to understand that your prayers are being heard and Kami-sama is hearing you. But there's a lot of factors we can't see that Kami-sama is trying to help us get through in order to help us work through that prayer. At least that's my experience, and with Toritsugi with others. So I wanted to share about that too. Let me see the comments. So Vidim-san says, but in Konko Kyo, devoted believer can not only be a Kyoshi, but also Hokyo minister's assistant or Kyoto devoted believer, and training for Hokyo is much shorter, like a week. Oh, yeah. So actually, I don't really know about Hokyo particularly. Like, okay, so my understanding of Hokyo is that it's an official position, and the head minister has to appoint it to you, and there's a lot of paperwork involved, and it could be a very long time, like years and years, or it could be like a week. It all depends on how the minister feels, if you're like ready or not. Like I've heard a lot of conflicting things, and maybe it's different depending on the kyokai. But I know it's like it's an official position. It's not like I'm a hokyo. Like it would be written down and like recorded somewhere. So, but that's absolutely a role that is very important for the hiromai. And it's a very important role, kind of like minister work, but also a little bit more um, like on the secular side. I don't know how to explain. Not secular side. Sorry. Like between a layperson and between a minister, a hokyo is like in the middle between those two positions. So it's a very enriching role to serve. And yes, as for Kyoto devoted believers, this is also a very important role, because a lot of times, like a Kyoto person who's really sincere in Konko Faith, they will help guide other believers in the hiromai and in the kyokai to develop their faith as layperson to layperson. That experience is very valuable, because like I said, like sometimes people feel like that a minister is more like more wise, or like very like like this like above them, and so like they'll never really reach the faith level of a minister unless they become a minister. But that's not true, because as we can see with Kyoto believers, they have really strong faith and really close connection to Kami-sama. But and their life is dedicated to Konko Faith, but they're lay people, so like you don't have to have the title to have that close connection and that really strong faith. And I honestly think like some Kyoto believers kind of sometimes can have a stronger faith even than a minister. Um, so it can be like that too. So let's see. And as a son says, the topic of today's talk is very interesting to me. The timing is crazy because I have, for the last 2 weeks, dealing with my own anxiety due to work changes. So many thoughts, like the ones you mentioned, surface. I had no energy to participate in the meetings until today. And then we were discussing this, that. Oh, I'm so glad. I feel like maybe that's why, like, Kami-sama was like, I kept coming across these same videos and then these thoughts kind of came and these experiences. So I'm glad that we can talk about it and share the feelings together. Thank you so much. I'm glad. Yes, it is very important to discuss between each other. I know it can be embarrassing, like, oh, you're supposed to, as a minister, at least sometimes I've been told, like, as a minister, you're supposed to, like, work towards, like, having it all together, being the one that, people can rely on. And I know, of course, that's true, but I don't want to pretend like where I am at now, I don't want to be dishonest about the feelings I sometimes have that come up, and it's like I can't control them, so and I think it's important because then, like, now we can relate to the same feelings, and maybe they're just like passing anxieties, especially from stress and like tiredness, but they happen, and I think it's important to just be honest and say that they do happen. And I'm not at the level yet where I can just trust Kami-sama 100% all the time. I want to be, but I'm going to be honest and say that not always. And sometimes things are hard, and that is what it is. It's part of the journey, So I think Kami-sama understands that and knows that we're all walking closer to them, and that's okay. Like, we're not going to be immediately there. Like, it's a journey to get closer and reconnect to Kami-sama. So yeah, thank you so much. Alex says, may I ask what is a hokyo? And Vidin-san says, as I understand, Kyokai sends person to Hombu, where once a year there's training for Hokyo, and after that person is Hokyo on paper, recognized by Hombu. Yes, I've heard of that. Yeah, I heard that, like, it's like an official, like, they have to go for training. But I don't know, because I know some, like, Hokyo in North America haven't done that. So maybe it's like officially that, but maybe in North America they don't have to go because it's far. I should I should try. Like, I know the official procedures, but I know that it also changes a lot too, like depending on the kyokai and the minister, and like, so I'm not, I'm not like 100% sure, because I remember like there's like some kyokai in North America where they're like, we have a hokyo, but the hokyo never went to Japan or Hombu, but I think they're like registered. So I'm not sure, but I know, and maybe in Japan, like, to be hokyo, you have to go to Hombu. So like, I think that there's like an official way, and then they can like adjust, like make compromises depending on like individual situations. That's what I'm gonna assume, because I've seen that with ministers too. Like, for example, in a kyokai, if like the head minister passes away and someone needs to become a minister like right away, they will allow the person to only spend like 1 month in Gakuin, to like help take over the kyokai because the minister passed away suddenly. So there's like always kind of like exceptions like that too. But it's not like it's any easier or like a shortcut. It's like extraneous, like extraordinary circumstances that they have to compromise on. So there's like flexibility. There's like a official way, like you mentioned, Vidin-san, but then there's like flexibility. So I think it's like that. It's not like super like you have to, but it's good. It's important to do like the official way. But if something happens, they can, work with you on it. So I like that though. I like that Gohombu is a little bit like willing to compromise and work through solutions depending on what's going on. So yeah, but Alex to, oh, sorry. Vidimsa says, and I also remember Wahiawa Kyokai mentioned that they can train Hokyo, and then they send official paper to Hombu. Oh yes, yes, yeah. Honestly, as long as you have like a head minister, who can approve you, it's basically like you can be Hokyo. Like I can't do it because I'm not a head minister. But like other head ministers can like like allow you to have that title, but they have to like know you and like they have to like trust you, and you're gonna there's like the expectation that you have to like go to the kyokai and stuff like that, so it's very complicated. But that that everything's done, but just like for the live stream, like the people watching. But Alex, and for your question, Hokyo is like a thing in Konko Faith. I don't know if it exists in other like Jinja or Shinto faiths. Maybe not. I don't think so. But a Hokyo is like an official, like officially statused, recorded minister's assistant. So, and kind of like a trainee. So they're like a trainee, but they're also like an official minister's assistant. And only head minister's assistant. So like I can't have like me, I can't have a hokyo or an assistant because I'm not a head minister. But a head minister can absolutely have a hokyo who can assist them in ministerial duties, in ceremonies, in connecting lay people to the minister, and all sorts of other responsibilities. So that's a very special role. And I think I don't know. I remember in one of the North American churches, like the Hokyo would also they some one of them lived a little bit farther from the Kyokai, and so they would have like excuse me, sorry. They would have like faith meetings in the other location and then report to the head minister like the nature of the meeting. So I remember that happening. I don't know if that actually happens in other Kyokai, but I remember that was like something that was like very interesting to me because it meant like it was like for like a long distance connection between head minister and Hokyo. But again, that might have just been like exception made to the rule for like North America because everything is like spread out. But in Japan, everything's really close. So like yeah, you have to live near the kyokai or like live at the kyokai with the head minister. So but it's a very high pressure position to like lots of responsibilities to uphold. But yeah, so it's good though. Like if you want to be a minister, I think that asking to be hokyo is very important step. So oh yes, yes. Vadim-san says, as I remember from Hombu Info, one of the main goals of Hokyo is to spread the Konko faith, teach lay believers, etc. Ah yes, yes. Yeah. That's basically what the person I knew was doing. At the other location that was farther, they were like making YouTube videos and they were doing prayer services, and they kind of had like a co-group, like a lay worship group. So that was pretty cool too. But yeah, so it was nice. But unfortunately they had to stop for a bit. But it was basically that, like a lot of outreach and community building and kind of like taking on the role between layperson and minister. So it was a really good role. But it's again like it's an official like paperwork role. It's not like like someone just can't call themselves Hokyo. And it needs to be like, from the head minister approved, like signatures, all that. Like it's a very formal title. I once thought it wasn't a formal title, and then I was educated that it is. So, because the only time I had heard of Hokyo was like in the North American context, and so I was like, oh, it's just like a thing that it's like a minister assistant, like it's. But no, I'm like, no, it's like an actual, it's an actual like whole, proper training thing. I was never a Hokyo, I don't think. I mean, like, I was never like Hokyo on paper, but I did a lot of similar roles in the Toronto Kyokai. So, I was offering kibimai. I was going every week to like clean up the Kyokai. Like, I cleaned the toilets, I vacuumed, I washed the windows. It was really fun. And yeah, I cleaned up, I did sacred dance, I made like helped sensei make goshimai, make tamagushi. I had like my blog and stuff. I still need to like update things. But you know, all those responsibilities, like I would come to the kyokai every week, every like 3 times a week, twice a week to help out. So like you have to have that kind of sense of responsibility and kind of like passion to serve at the kyokai. It's kind of like a quality of someone wanting to become, or like in the future or now. It's kind of like if you want to become a minister, you should get used to the kyokai life and all that entails. It's not just ritual. It's like it's cleaning up, it's moving furniture, it's fixing floors, it's dealing with like termites and mice and craziness, and there's a lot of like dirty work. Like not dirty work, but you know, like hard labor. You have to do taxes, paperwork, banking, like all this stuff, right? There's a lot of like secular stuff you have to train for and know. It's not just like the rituals. So that's why they for like Hokyo it's very good to get familiar with all that stuff. So Madison says this work interests me, but unfortunately the closest kyokai is in Chicago. Konko Faith, although I still know little about it, is interesting is and how it's in the US. Oh yes, yes. Thank you so much. Yeah. Um, yeah, sorry, the Chicago Kyokai is really good. The sensei there is really, really amazing. Reverend Takeuchi, he's really, really nice. And yeah, Konko Faith is pretty nice. It's pretty. What am I saying? It's pretty nice. What I mean by that is like, it's nice in the fact that because of the nature of Konko Faith's kamisama, Tenchika no kamisama, you know, they don't need or necessarily want a jinja, as in like a consecrated sacred land for them, because Tachikana Kami-sama is everywhere. Like everywhere, like beside you, beside me, beside Vidim-san, beside Alex, like they're everywhere. So like we don't need to have like a special land for them because they're everywhere. And like even where I am now, it's just a worship hall. It's just a place we can pray, but it's not like where Tenchika no Kami-sama is specifically. So that makes it really easy, because like easy as in what I mean by that is in like there's less concerns about a permanent location, to find a permanent location, to have the land to settle, to, you know, have a whole dedication done, to make the jinja, to maintain the jinja, to have the local community. For Konkokyo Hiromai worship halls, it could literally just be like anywhere, right? It could be, so for example, Chicago Kyokai is actually in the front part of the house where Sensei lives. So it looks like a normal house on the outside, but inside it's the kyokai, it's the worship hall. And this would be like impossible for other kamisama, because like you need the specific land, like it needs to be a specific like place and the goshintai and everything for that kamisama to dwell there. But because Senchiko no Kami-sama is dwelling everywhere, yeah, you can just have set up the altar like in the house, and it's like, you know, it's legitimate, you know, it's like a real worship hall for Tenchika no Kami-sama. And also the other thing is that Tenchika no Kami-sama is like universal, like they're universal Kami-sama. So they're not tied to any specific country or like people or like language or like Konko faith is of course Japanese faith, and there's roots in Japanese traditions and religion from Konko Daijin-sama. But as far as Tenchika no Kami-sama themselves go, they're like everywhere. They've like existed before humans existed, before dinosaurs existed. So there's that aspect too, where there's not really like a concern about like cultural sense or like cultural traditions as much, because Tenchika no Kami-sama, like they're already everywhere. So it's just a matter of having the worship hall and the person who can do toritsugi for others. And once those two troubles are fulfilled, a konkokyo hiromai can be established anywhere, any place. So there's really like not or like a lot of prohibitions that prevent an establishment of a konko hiromai or worship hall, comparing to jinja where there's a lot more like involved in setting one like in a permanent space or to have it established. And it needs like a local community and it needs a lot of other factors and like donations and so many like special architectures. So, there's a lot involved. But for Konko, it's pretty like you need a place to do toritsugi mediation, you need a place to put the tenchika kitsuke, and a place to pray, and that's it. Because kami-sama is everywhere. So yeah, that's why there's a lot of Konko-kyo, Hiromai Kyokai all over. Both because it's not so difficult, but also, again, like the nature of Tenchika no Kami-sama, and also um, the desire of Kami-sama to help people around the world. People around the world need help through their sufferings, through their painful times. And Kami-sama wants to help everybody, not just people in Japan. So there's also this motivation to spread the way of Toritsugi in order to help others around the world, not just in Japan, because Japan has a lot of kyokai. But there's not a lot around in other places in the world. So I know it's Kami-sama's wish to reach out everywhere and have people be able to connect to them everywhere. So there's that factor too. Vadim-san said, "Oh yes, my pleasure. Happy to explain. I hope I explained well. Sorry, but yes." Vadim-san says the Hokyo system was established in 1992 with the aim of reviving the spirit of free missionary work from the time of the founder, from Konkokyo followers website. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Oh, I see. So it's kind of like it's supposed to be like a revival of how Kyoso-sama would tell other people. Sorry, I'm just kidding. Like how Kyoso-sama would tell other people, like his disciples, his deshi, that they would be able to spread the word, spread the faith, spread the teachings. What that means is, spread the way of Tenchika no Kami-sama, spread the way of Toritsugi mediation, help others through Toritsugi mediation. All of this is really important. And again, it's not for like converting people or like spreading the faith just to spread the faith. It's not about that in Konkokyo. It's about the core of this work is to help other people, is to fulfill Kami-sama's wish of helping other people through their suffering and having a way for them to connect to Kami-sama through Toritsugi mediation. So that's like the main reason why there's like this desire and this kind of like hope for people to be able to participate in this way, because it's nothing to do with like the religious organization spreading. It's not about that really. The core is about to help other people through Toritsugi mediation. So like that's why Konko Daijin-sama said like to the disciples, to his deshi, like help people through Toritsugi mediation. And people, they were doing Toritsugi even without the Hiromai. But then of course, like, they had to have a space for Kami-sama. So it kind of evolved from there. Oh no, it's perfect. Yeah, thank you, Madison-san. So Madison asks, what exactly is Toritsugi mediation? Yes, thank you for asking. So Toritsugi mediation is Konkokyo's like what makes Konkokyo Konkokyo. Like it's like the creme de la creme. It's like the heart of Konkokyo. So this is like what it's all about. And so Toritsugi literally means like to mediate, and we just say Toritsugi mediation because it's kind of like chai tea. I don't know. It's like it's a way to keep the original word, but it's also a way to like understand what it means on like in the moment. So Toritsugi or mediation or Toritsugi mediation. And this is like the most important thing of Konko. So like even if there was no like worship hall, no shrine, no anything, if there is Toritsugi, that is Konko Faith. So what it is that a person who's like someone who wants to help Kami-sama help other people. And back then in Konko Daijin-sama's time, so Konko Daijin-sama was kind of like the first person Tenshika no Kami-sama taught the way of mediation to. And then through Konko Daijin-sama, he was able to teach other people about this way. And then over time, it became more like established, like more organized, as in like through the different government regulations through Meiji era. What does it mean to be a Toritsugi mediator? And it became, a system, where we have to go to Gakuin, we have to get ordained, we have to get approval from Konko-sama to do official Toritsugi mediation with a minister. But so there's two types. So there's Toritsugi mediation with a minister. This is like the official sense of the word. And the reason it has to be a minister is because a minister has gone through the training and guidance of other ministers through Konko-sama, which is the descendant of Konko Daijin. Like it's basically like the whole lineage of Toritsugi mediators to you, and you learn the whole history lineage to yourself, and also connecting to Kami-sama to not just for yourself, but wanting to connect to Kami-sama to help other people. So, and then when you go through the training in Gakuin and you go through everything, then like, at least for me, I went through an interview, I had to explain everything. And then all of my training, my essays, my training observations, my interview, like everything, all the culmination of everything I did, it was presented to Konko-sama. And Konko-sama, the current spiritual leader of Konko-kyo, then he approves, or she in the future if there's a female Konko-sama, but now it's always been men, just the way the lineage works. And also through like voting and because Konko-sama is not like, it's a position that's given through voting, but it's also a position that's kind of handed down lineage. So it's like the person who is connected to Konko Daiji-sama through lineage, but also has a good heart and a good connection to Kami-sama, that people vote them in to be Konko-sama. So it's like the spiritual leader of Konko-kyo. And then he approves everybody who has applied to be a minister. He will say, okay, yes, you can be a minister, or no, not right now, or not yet, or Kami-sama, you cannot be a minister at this time. But so Konko-sama allowed me to serve as a minister. So that means that as a minister, I can give Toritsugi mediation through the approval of Konko-sama in the formal official assent. But Toritsugi mediation can also be done by technically speaking, it can be done by anyone. So anyone who wants to like truly help someone through help Kami-sama help someone and truly alleviate their troubles and truly help them connect to Tenshika no Kami-sama. It can also be done, but this is not like, it's not like someone, even ministers can't say like, oh, I'm going to give you Toritsugi mediation. Like, I'm going to give it for you because you look like you need help. Like that's not what happens. Is people come to you, and people who need help from you, you receive them their Toritsugi. So in the same way, even if someone's not a minister, the Toritsugi should be received by them naturally. It shouldn't be like, oh, I'm going to give it to you. Like, you need it. Like, it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be imposed on someone. It should be someone coming to ask for it, like ask for Toritsugi mediation. So that being said, like sometimes when you're talking to a friend, like naturally, sometimes a form of Toritsugi can happen where you genuinely feel Kami-sama's wish to that person, and you relay it to them and you help them in that way. So that also exists. But that being said, that whole preface, what is Toritsugi mediation? So Toritsugi is when the person basically is the mediator, like the person in between the person seeking Toritsugi and Tenchi Kana no Kami-sama. And this is important. There's always Tenchi Kana no Kami-sama involved in some way. Even if there's like ancestors also there, or like other deities, or like anything anything else on the unseen world wants to communicate. But Tenchi Kana no Kami-sama is always there in Toritsugi. And Ikigami Konko Daijin-sama as well. Because Ikigami Konko Daijin-sama is like the Kami-sama of Toritsugi mediation. So the mediator, the Toritsugi mediator, is the person between the worshipper, the person seeking Toritsugi, and Kami-sama, Tenchi no Kami-sama. And what happens is that usually the person will tell like their troubles or their prayers, appreciations, apologies, requests, anything on their mind. And it could be like, also they could be just like venting, like even like swearing, like angry. Like I've like people like just like they can say anything, they can just let loose and Toritsugi. That's okay. Like you don't have to be like oh my gosh, like you don't have to be formal. Like you just it's better to be honest and sincere and like let your true feelings out to Kami-sama. So that is the person, and they tell everything to the Toritsugi mediator. Then the Toritsugi mediator, ideally, the official traditional direct way is to take all of that what that person said and don't do anything, just give it to Kami-sama. Like just like tell Kami-sama this, everything, just directly. So and then you tell everything to Kami-sama. And then Kami-sama understands everything and they accept everything. And if they have something they want to say back to the person, whether it's a message or like a feeling or like even sometimes like an image, whatever it may be, then the Toritsugi mediator's responsibility is to receive that from Kami-sama, take it from Kami-sama, and then give it to the person. And that is all the Toritsugi mediator is supposed to do. And now, unfortunately, like in some more modern understandings of Konko Faith, sometimes Toritsugi mediation is kind of seen like spiritual counseling. So the person says all their things. Okay, bye, Benin-san. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you have a nice day. So in other forms, like some people see it as spiritual counseling. So the person will say all their troubles, and then the Toritsugi mediator will hear it, and then they will try to like through their wisdom from Kami-sama try to help the person. And that can work too. It's kind of like not like direct message, but it's like Kami-sama's wisdom that they learned through their life, and they can help the person in Toritsugi. But I try to do it the really like original way, like just try to directly relay the message to the person. But this can be scary because sometimes there might be like a message or something that doesn't make sense to me, and maybe it sounds bad or it's like concerning. Like my sensei said, like one time he heard a message from Kami-sama, like they have to get on a plane immediately. And that would have caused like inconvenience, money spending, so many problems. So like my sensei had to relay this, but it could have caused a lot of problems if the message was like misunderstood. So there can be a lot of pressure and difficulty in that sense too. That's why like the wisdom from Kami-sama given to others is kind of done more in the modern times, but there's ministers that just say the message directly to the person. But again, like it can be pretty intense and like maybe like not understanding, but it's important to relay it. So that's pretty much what it really is. It's you having someone, the Toritsugi mediator, relay your prayers to Tenchi no Kami-sama, being like a go-between you and or the worshiper and Kami-sama and the mediator. But it's not like you need a Toritsugi mediator to pray to Kami-sama. It's like so there's two ways I've heard it described. So one way is like, you know when you go to a gym to work out, and like yeah, you can work out by yourself. You can like use the machines and you're like doing the workouts, and it's fine. But Toritsugi mediation is kind of like having a personal trainer, like a person to kind of help you, show you how to use the machines, kind of guide you through an exercise routine. Toritsugi mediation is kind of like that, where like you can pray on your own, but a Toritsugi mediator kind of helps the connection a bit, helps the connection not just a bit, but like through a big way, and they can kind of coach you through a certain situation in your prayers or your troubles or things like that. Another way I've heard it described, which is a really interesting way from Masafumi Sensei, is that he used the example of the evil queen from Snow White. So he said, like, if you just go to like regular prayers, if you just pray to Kamisama, it's kind of like the evil queen in Snow White. She's just praying like, I want to be beautiful. I want to be the most beautiful person. I wish Snow White was dead. Like all this stuff, like just praying her wishes and over and over and over again. And of course, like her understanding of what she's praying for is not like really like she doesn't understand how that's harmful to like herself, to like be obsessed with beauty, and it's harmful to wish harm on Snow White. Like it's on like she has her reasons for that prayer, but they're not always coming from the best place. But if she just prays by herself over and over and over again, that's all that's going to happen, and Kamisama doesn't have a way to explain to her really like how to really overcome the root cause of her problems that lead her to praying that. So with Toritsugi, it's like the evil queen says, like, I want to be the most beautiful in the world. I don't want Snow White to be around anymore. But through Toritsugi mediation, she can hear, or she can be asked by Kami-sama, why do you want to be the most beautiful? Why is beauty the most important thing to you? You're the queen. Like, why can't you see the other valuable things about yourself? And, like Snow White is your daughter. Like, why do you want to hurt her? Like, why do you feel threatened by her? Like, asking her, guiding her through her own inner thoughts and the root of her prayers to kind of unravel everything, a little bit like therapy in a way, but also like deeper spiritual reflections. And that can be done through Toritsugi mediation, because there's the mediator to kind of allow like this communication between like the unseen Tenchika no Kami-sama and like the person who's praying. So that's also like a benefit of Toritsugi mediation, to genuinely help others through complicated prayers, or even if a prayer seems simple, there might be something deeper and more complicated that Kami-sama wants to express to them, but it's difficult to reach them when they're like just directly praying for this one thing and they don't understand the root of it. So it's kind of complicated like that. But Toritsugi can really help with that complexity. So I think it's really good, personally as well. So Masana-san asked, is it only for Tenchika no Kami-sama? Oh yes. So this like practice was from Tenchika no Kami-sama saying like they specifically want to help people and reach out to people. And there's been teachings that are like, if there's no human Toritsugi mediator, you can ask the Kami-sama of another jinja to be the mediator of your prayers to Tenchika no Kami-sama. So there's always kind of like this, the end receiver is Tenchika no Kami-sama. But that doesn't mean like other like Kami-sama or other spirits can also like add like their messages. Like sometimes I've seen like Mitama no Kami-sama, like the ancestors or a past loved one. They also want to say things through Toritsugi with Tenchika no Kami-sama. But basically, like Tenchika no Kami-sama is always there. And then like other Kami-sama or Mitama no Kami-sama will like also sometimes, depending on the prayer, depending on the person, may also want to say something in that moment to help the person through something. So that can also happen too. But it's not like mediumship, like medium like where like, you're kind of channeling a message, and it's not like possession. It's just really like a baton pass, like it's just like take this there, or like, you have a letter, you take a letter, it's for the person. So it's really just like, okay, here's the message, say the message. I don't know, but this is what it is, and this is the feeling I get, like this is the kind of message behind it, but it's important to pray about it on your own time too. So that's the kind of like way of Toritsugi mediation. It's a little complicated to explain, but that's kind of the basics of it. And it's not like you don't have to donate anything to do Toritsugi. Um, like there's no like donation or like fee or like anything like that to do Toritsugi. Tenshikano no Kami-sama was very explicit that they don't want people to feel like they have to donate money in order to receive blessings. So, of course, like we don't like it's completely like free. It's like you don't have to pay anything, of course. So because Kami-sama doesn't need like money or anything. And then if you're worried about like, oh, what about the kyokai? And it's like, no, don't worry. Like, what usually happens is like in my experience here at Yokosuka Kyokai, is that the person is so grateful for the help they received through Toritsugi, and they received many blessings from the Toritsugi, that they're able to donate a lot of money without trouble on them, like without causing financial trouble to themselves as a result of the blessings they received. So it's like works out for everybody, So it's like the person is not pressured to donate. They are happy to donate because they received the blessings, and their life they had a lot of improvements happen, and it enabled them to be able to be in a good place to contribute to upkeeping the kyokai. So it's like it works out, it's not like it's never like you have to donate, it's not like that. Like Kami-sama, that's the way of Konkokyo. Of course, though, like the thing is like sometimes there's been people who are like really rich, and then they're like, oh, I can donate whatever I need to, so I'm just gonna donate a little bit. But it's like that's also not good, because it's like, it's like it's not really respectful. It's like if you're making a lot of money and you're well to do, it's like, and then you're just like, oh, I don't care, like whatever, just like $10. It's like that's a little bit like, the sincerity behind it. But if you're like really struggling and like that's your last $10 and you offer it, I've literally seen like head ministers. They're like, don't like, I don't want to like, don't, I'm not gonna take this donation. That actually happened to me. So like when I was in high school, I was working my part-time job, and I had like no money. But I was like, I need to donate for the monthly ceremony. Like I want to give a donation. And I only had $20 in my wallet. And I was like, I thought I need this $20 to buy my bus tickets for the week. But it's okay. I'll just donate it. I'll figure it out. And so I put in the envelope, and I donated. I didn't say anything to anybody. I didn't say anything to Sensei. I didn't say anything to no one. And I didn't even look concerned on the outside because I didn't want anyone to worry. But I gave Sensei my envelope, and he looks at it, and he's like quiet for a minute, and he's like, no, Olivia, take this back. You need this. And I'm like, what? And he's like, no, you need this more. Like Kami-sama said, like, you need this. Like, don't donate it. It's okay. Like, we're fine. And I was like, what? I was so shocked, because that never happened to me in any religious experience, or like religious, like not Catholic church, not Buddhist temple, not like anything. So I was shocked that my donation was given back to me. And I was shocked that my sensei even knew, because I didn't say anything. But Kami-sama knew, so Kami-sama told my sensei, like, no, Olivia needs this for her bus tickets. And I was like, oh my god. But it's happened like many times where like Kami-sama will say like, no, this person needs the money. Like it's okay. And so they give their donation back. So it's like, arigato. It's like, thank you so much. But yeah, so I don't know. It's like that's why I know like Kami-sama does so much, and you know, and also like people who donate sincerely, I've also seen like kami-sama gives back to them like 10 times more. So it's like that's also like a win-win, win-win. I don't know. Everybody is happy, like everyone, it works out for everybody. So I really like that too. But anyway, so that's that's Toritsugi mediation, um, at the core of it. So yeah, thank you for asking. And if you have any more questions, please feel free to let me know. But but yeah, so I don't know. I think I said pretty much what I wanted to say today, I think. I'm trying to think if oh right. There's one more story I wanted to say before I end the stream. And I'm already going over time. But so there's this one story I wanted to share before I end the stream. So near Haneda Airport, there's a Inari shrine called Anamori Inari Jinja. And every time when a lot of my friends come to Japan, they go to Haneda Airport. And I always say like, "Oh, let's like usually it's like a layover, so they don't really have a lot of time." So I say like, "Oh, let's just go, there's not much to see around the airport, but let's go to the shrine because it's like, a traditional place and it's unique and it's close to the airport and it's free." So like there's all these benefits, so let's go. So one time my friend was passing through Japan to go to the Philippines later, and she only had a few hours. So I was like, "Oh, let's go to the shrine. Like, you've never been to a shrine, so let's go." So we go, and at the shrine, there's this like little I don't know how to say it, like glass case, and you can basically light a candle and put the candle there, and it represents your wish or your prayer. So, so that day it was very windy. So we were we were struggling, like I could not, like, first of all, my candle kept falling down, the match kept breaking, like like I even if I managed to light the match, like fire would like immediately fizzle or would burn me, or like I don't know, there was so much madness happening just to light the candle. And it was happening enough that my friend was like Olivia, maybe it's not meant to be. Maybe the wish is not meant to be. And I was like, no, no, this is what it's all about. We have to do it. Like we have to put in the effort to make it come true. We're gonna do it. So I was more determined. So we're like, no, like we're not giving up. So we keep trying, and eventually we get it. We get it. We get the candles lit. We get them put in the glass case, and we close the glass case before the wind can blow it out. And our two little candles are there with the flame, and we're so proud of ourselves because we did it. And I took a picture, and I was like, "See, we did it. We did it." And I wanted to share this story because, like, but going back to kind of like, am I worthy enough? Or like, so many bad things are happening, so many obstacles. Like, you see where I'm going with this, right? Like, there's so many obstacles, so many troubles. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not worthy. Maybe someone doesn't care about me. Maybe someone doesn't want me. But that's, that's not, in my experience, like, that's not how it is. Like, just life will have so many obstacles and so many troubles, like the wind, the match breaking, the fire going out, the candle dropping. But it doesn't mean that it's not that your wish is not going to come true. It just means that you have to keep trying, and you have to be a little bit stubborn. You have to keep trying, and not fear that like Kami-sama's telling you like, no, like I don't want to listen to your wish, or like I don't care about your wish. Some people, like, I understand why that feeling comes up. I really understand why, because even there was even me, a little voice in the back of my head, like maybe it is not meant to be. Maybe me and my friends' wishes won't be accepted by Inari or Kami-sama. Maybe they won't be accepted by Kami-sama. But then I felt something from Kami-sama, like, no, we have to try. Just keep trying. Like, because we're here. Like, we're here now. We're at the shrine. We're in this place. It's like now we've put in the effort. So it's kind of the same thing. So like, a lot of people here, like we are practicing the way of the kami. We we are connecting to kami-sama. We are called and pulled towards them. We are welcomed by them. We have our kamidanas. We have like kamidana as in like the place to worship. We worship them every day. We communicate with them every day. So like the rest is just the obstacles of life coming at us. And it doesn't mean like we're not wanted or we're being rejected or anything like that. I think if Kami-sama didn't want to even like communicate with us, we wouldn't have even been at the shrine. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't even be practicing the way of the Kami. It's more easier for me not to ever know about Konko Faith, not ever know about like anything to do or like not ever be pulled to it. Just, live my life, you know, do my hobbies, play games, go to work, go to my 9 to 5. It would have been so much easier for me to just follow that path. But here we are, like here we are, we're following the path, we're connecting to Kami-sama, we're practicing the way of the Kami, we're practicing Konko Faith, practicing Hinari Faith, whatever faith it may be, mix of faiths, whatever it may be, we're in this path where we have a connection with Kami-sama already. We're at the shrine. So the rest is like just keep trying, don't get discouraged by the obstacles that will inevitably come up because of the limitation of the human existence, And again, like even if that doesn't mean it turns out the way you thought would be best, that doesn't mean it won't be the best. You know what I mean? So like for example, for like the elder I talked about who thought they should be a minister, but they ended up not being a minister. But it ended up being the better path for them because they had more ability to do what they needed to do and what they wanted to do. So there's like we can't just like well, Kami-sama doesn't want me to, and okay, I'm gonna stop. We can't, we have to keep connecting. We have to keep trusting. And that's kind of what that moment taught me, like we were like, it was ridiculous how much problems were happening and we were like, maybe not, but we did it, and the candles were there and they were lit and they were in front of the shrine, and we did it because we didn't give up. We just kept persisting to overcome each obstacle that happened and kept trusting in Kami-sama, that we trusted them, that they wanted us to fulfill our wish. They wanted us to put in the effort to fulfill the wish, to symbolically fulfill the wish by putting the candle. So, I think that's what it's all about. It's not easy and it's hard, and there's a lot of things life can throw at us in so many ways. But, we keep going. And I think we're called. And if Kami-sama or any divine being didn't want anything to do with us, we wouldn't ever connect, I feel. So, and again, like that doesn't mean that people who don't connect are not wanted. It just means that, maybe they have another path, so it's kind of like that. But yeah, oh, thank you, Madison. Yes, thank you. There's actually a Konko teaching I like that's like, I don't remember exactly how it goes, but it kind of goes like, should everyone become a monk? Like, should everyone become a Buddhist monk? Should everyone reach enlightenment? That seems like the best thing to do. It seems like the best goal. But the teaching says that if everyone were Buddhist monks, there would be no carpenters, there would be no, farmers, there would be no artists, there would be no, everyone's different roles and works to put society together and for us to live in. If everyone just became the Buddhist monk, then all of that would stop to exist. And I'm not saying like we should do work we hate. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying like it doesn't mean that someone who's like, I don't know, who's just like, if I wasn't called to this path and I ended up being an artist because I wanted to work in art and graphic design. And if I took down that path, I don't think it would mean that Kami-sama doesn't care about me or doesn't want to connect to me. It just means that that is my path that I had to follow. But I ended up coming on this path to be Konko minister, to connect to Kami-sama, to learn about these traditions. And this is kind of like the path I was called to. But that doesn't mean like I'm more valuable or more wanted or more worthy. It just means that like there's these different paths that we all do in life, and all of them are important. And, all of them help make the whole function of society and all the beauty we have in society. So, like, maybe I didn't do art or graphic design, but I'm so thankful to see, like, in video games or in, like, anime, like, beautiful artworks, beautiful design, beautiful production value. Like, one of, like, an anime I really like that recently came out, like, Witch Hat Atelier. The artwork is so beautiful, and like the mangaka, she does like amazing, beautiful artwork. And it's like, if she became like a minister, like she would have no time to make the manga, and I would be really sad if that didn't exist. So, that's what I'm trying to say. Or like if everyone was a minister, then like there would be no shrine carpenter for, these beautiful altar items, or like it might be silly, but even my hair, I'm always so thankful to my hairstylist because, if he just became a minister, then he wouldn't be a hairstylist, and then my hair would be crazy. So I'm always really, really thankful to him because he's like he does magic, I swear. Like my hair would be crunched up if not for him. So I'm like super thankful. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like everyone has their different paths in life, and one is not more valuable than the other. One is not closer to Kami-sama than the other. We're just on these paths. And when we're on the path to live a life close to Kami-sama, whether that's through minister work or priest work, whether that's through being an elder or a guide or like a hokyo or any of these positions, any of these roles, the fact is we're walking the path with Kami-sama, with the divine, in the spiritual work, in the religious work, and we're on this path. And even if obstacles come, and they will, because there will always be obstacles, we still have to keep trying to overcome them and trust it doesn't mean that we're being rejected or pushed away. It just means that there's obstacles and to overcome them. And the more we overcome them, the more closer we are to reaching the wish that we want to fulfill. So that's what I wanted to say for today. So yes, thank you so much. I hope that made sense. But I think about that moment at the shrine a lot when I feel like I'm not doing enough, or like maybe Kami-sama doesn't want me, or like I think no, it's like the candle, it's like the candle. I have to pick up another match, keep trying to light the fire, light the candle, protect it from the from the wind, put it up, close the door. I have to keep trying. So yes, but thank you so much everyone for today. And I think it's a good place to end the stream. So thank you so much. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. And I'm sorry, I know that I have to reply to many emails and messages. I like checked on everything today. It's just been like such a crazy week this week. There's so many ceremonies and like so many events and like so many things popping up. And it was my birthday. So I was like, it was crazy. But I really want to take the time, like I want to be in the right headspace and the right time to reply. So hopefully after the ceremony tomorrow, I'll catch up with everybody. And thank you so much for being patient. And thank you so much for a wonderful stream and for joining me today. So yes, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and please take care. Thank you. I'll see you next time on Tuesday. Yes. Okay. Bye for now, everyone. Thank you so much. Arigatou gozaimasu. Bye-bye. Oh, my mouse. My mouse disappeared. Okay. Hey. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.